Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So today's topic is Spring Boot core annotation. So we will be discussing the Spring Boot related core annotations. Okay, I have listed out all the annotation here. Okay, so I will be discussing each annotations and I will be showing you how we can use those annotation in the real world project. So I have already created a CRUD project. Okay, so you can see this. If you need the link of this project, then I will just push this project to the GitHub and then I will just share you the repository link into the description of this video. So from there you can find it. So you can see I have created couple of packages here and you can see I have created couple of APIs in this controller. So there are APIs for the insert, get, put, okay, patch and delete. Everything is there. So you need not to worry about these things. Okay, I'm just using this already created project and I've here only I will just explain you all the others annotation that I have listed out. So coming to the annotations, the first annotation is at the rate configuration. Okay, so at the rate configuration annotation is a class level annotations. Okay, and whenever we use at the rate configuration annotation for any class, then that class can be used by the Spring IOC container as a source of bin definitions. So whenever we are using configuration for the particular class, then that class will be treated as a source of bin definition. That means we'll need to define all the bins in that class. So you might be remembering that when we were using the REST template for the microservice communication, then in the Spring Boot annotation class, the main class, we were using, we were trying to create the bean for the this REST template. Why we were doing that? Because the Spring Boot main class, Spring Boot application annotation is a combination of three different annotations, which is at the rate configuration, at the rate component scan, and at the rate enable auto configuration. So that is why we were configuring our bean here. So similar way, I will just go and just create a configuration class for you, and then I will show you how you can use that to configure our bean. Okay, so let me create one package called config, and here I will just create a test configuration class, test configuration. Okay, and I will edit here, and I will just put it configuration here for this class. Okay. So this, whenever we'll run this application, then Spring Boot will treat this class as a configuration class. So it will search for the bean definitions in this class. So how we can define a bean? So before that, I'm just going to create a simple Java class, which is a test class, I would say. Okay, and I'm just going to create one method here, which is returning a string, something like some hello, get message. Let name it like a get message, and then we'll see what it return. We can return anything, any string. So let's say we are returning welcome to engineering adda, something like that. Okay, okay, welcome to engineering adda. Just let it return first. So it is returning one string. Okay, and I have created one Java class. So coming to the configuration, I need to I need to create a bean for this class, and then we can we have this class complete. Test configuration class will be completed only when we define a bean here, and then I will show you how you can use that bean somewhere else. Okay, so I'm just going to create the bean, and let's say it's a public and I will create the method for the so for obtaining the instance of that test class. So like constructor of the test class, I will create test class. Let's say test class, and then it will return a simple new object of the test class. So it is returning a bean. This method is returning a bean of the test class, and this is the configuration class, which is inside which we have defined a bean. So as per the definition of the configuration class, we are good. Now how we can use this thing, I will show you. So coming to the user controller, okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to auto wire the test class here. Test class, okay. So, and I'm just going to create one get API, and then from there I will just show you how you can call that thing. Okay, so let's say it is get API and all, something like that, and get all. Let me remove everything here. Let me remove this all. And what I'm going to do, let me remove this as well. Let it be string. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to call that method and just return it. So return and test class get message. Okay. So yeah, we have created this thing. Let me put slash here. Okay, let me run this application and then I will show you how this API is working, and then I will explain you the flow of the whole thing. Okay, how it is working. So this is done. Let me see on which port it is up. So it is up on 9190. Okay, and then coming to the 9190, let me open this HTTP localhost 9190 slash API slash all. I will hit it. It is coming like welcome to engineering Adda. Then I will explain you how the flow is going on. Okay. So come to the IntelliJ, you can see that here what we are doing. Whenever we are running the application, then Spring Boot will see that will search for the configuration class. Okay. So whenever we are running the application, Spring Boot will come to the at the rate configuration class, and it will scan all the beans defined in this class, and it will create the object for that bean. Okay, so when we are auto wiring the test class, okay, here you can see, then when we are auto wiring the test class here, then automatically the object is created and we are able to access the method of that test class. Okay, so this is the purpose of configuration class. Coming to the bean, I think I have covered these three annotation at the rate bean and at the config auto wire in this example only. So you are clear with the configuration. Now coming to the bean. So bean is a method level annotation which is used to create the object, I would say, or used to create the bean. So whenever we are annotating any method with the annotation call at the rate bean, then that method will be returning a object. Simply you can say. So this is the purpose of bean. And coming to the autowire, so autowire is a what I would say is an annotation which is helping us in creating the object. Whenever we autowire for that particular class, like whenever we autowire any instance in a class, then in that class the Spring Boot create the object of the autowired instance. Okay, and then in that particular class we can use it directly. So that is the purpose of autowire. Okay, and coming to the next annotation, what is that? It is qualifier. So qualifier, let me show you one scenario, and then there I will explain you the purpose of qualifier there. Okay, so let's say if you have here you can see in the service I have a interface called user service. Okay, and I have created couple of methods here, and I have one implementation class called user service implementation, and I have implemented all the methods of the user service in this class. Let's say tomorrow if some new uh, new updation has come. Okay, and we still need the earlier implemented methods also. So we are going to implement this user service methods in some other implementation class so that we can have the earlier as well as the new one. So there in that scenario, what will happen? How you can make sure that you are using a particular implementation class. So there should be a glitch, right? There should be a conflict to use what implementation class. So in that scenario, this qualifier annotation helps us. So I'm just going to create one another V2 version of the implementation, and then I will show you uh, how you can use at the rate qualifier there. So let's say I'm just going to create a class called user service IMPL version 2. User service. Yeah, I've created this class user service IMPL version 2, and it implement the user service. Okay, and let me implement all the methods. I'm not going to provide any like implementation here. I'm just simply trying to show you what conflict it will show. So, and let annotate this class as at the rate service. Now I'm going to run this application, and we'll see what is the issue here. So you can see we are getting some issue here. We can see we have multiple beans, updating the consumer to accept multiple beans. So we are having a multiple beans from the service. Okay, and it's also so the solution that we can use qualifier or we can use the primary. So I will discuss both of them. So coming to the I will just let you know that how we are implementing this user service in the controller. So you can see here, I have created the instance of this user service here in the controller class and how it is working. So user service is a interface, and this interface earlier it was having only one implementation, which is user service IMPL, and so it was having no conflict there in the controller. It was directly going to the user service and it was looking for the implementation class, and it was going to the user service IMPL and picking up all the methods from there. Now we have the two implementation of the user service. So how it will pick one? So for that we need to provide the qualifier here. Okay, so here you can uh, make it like qualifier and then provide the alias name of the class which you are going to use. So let's say I'm going to use the user service IMPL version 2. Okay, and let me rerun it. So it is up. Now coming to the uh, like I'm going to show you how I have implemented where we have used this user service. So in the post mapping, I have used the user service. In get mapping, I have used the user service. So I'm going to hit the get URL and then I will show you. Before that, I'm going to show you what is there into the table. So let me hit it. So we have these three record in the into the table, and let me go to the postman and I'm going to hit this API. Okay, and I'm going to find out the user one. So here you can see I'm not getting any record. Why? Because we are using the user service IMPL version 2 class and I have not implemented anything there. Nothing is implemented, right? So that is why I'm not getting any record there. So let me change it to the but we are not getting the error that I was getting earlier with, because we have the two implementation class. So that means qualifier is working fine. Now let me change it to the user service IMPL and then I will show you those things. So let me rerun it and come to the API, sorry, Postman, and then try to hit the API. So it is up. Let me hit the API. You can see the record one is coming. So whenever you have two implementation, then you need to make sure that whatever implementation you are going to use, you just need to provide that implementation with the help of at the rate qualifier. Okay, and then coming to the next annotation, which is a primary annotation. So I will show you how the primary is helping us. So the primary is also helping in the same way how the qualifier is helping. So come to the IntelliJ. So here I'm just going to comment it out and I'm just going to use the primary. So still I'm getting the error, right? Now how I can use primary. So you can come to this any of this implementation classes. Let's say I'm going to the user service IMPL and here I need to annotate primary so that whenever it is going to control or going to use this instance, then it know that primary implementation class is this user service IMPL so that it can pick from there. Okay, so that is what I'm going to rerun it and then I will show you that it is picking the record from user service IMPL. So let's run it and then I will show you those things. So go to the postman. Now try to hit this endpoint and then you can see it is coming. Similar way, you can also try to find the second user. So it is also coming. So that is working fine. Now coming to the next next annotation is lazy. So lazy annotation is we need lazy annotation to like this Spring Boot is a eager loading. Okay, so whenever you are going to create a going to create an object of a class, then it will eagerly load that class. Whenever you will run this, like let's say if you have created a class and you have annotated that class with the annotation called at the rate component, then that class will object be created and eagerly loaded into the Spring context. Okay, so when we are creating the object, then that object is already loaded into the Spring Boot by itself. So Spring Boot is a eager loading in nature. So whenever you are not going to use any object that is created, then you need to annotate that class with the annotation called at the rate lazy. So I'm going to create two classes and I will show you how it is working. So let me create this two class. Let's say first class is a eager loading class. Okay, and I'm just going to annotate this class with the annotation called component. Okay, so that Spring Boot create the object for it. I'm going to create the instance going to create the constructor also so that we can see those things. So generate constructor. Okay, and here I'm just simply printing eager loading class. Eager loading class object is created, something like that. Similarly, I'm just going to create one another class which is lazy loading. Lazy loading class, and I need to annotate it with the component. And similarly, I need to create the constructor for it. And here I'm just going to print lazy loading class created. Class object created. Okay, so there is a no difference between these two. Okay, so that means it is a eager loading. This lazy loading class is also behave like a eager loading. So whenever we'll run this application, then we can see that the object for both of them will be created. So I'm just going to run and then I will show you. And then I will show you how the lazy is working. So just let run this application and then yeah. So here you can see the this message is coming, eager loading class object is created, lazy loading class object is created. That means Spring Boot is eager in nature, and it is whenever we try to create a, like when we are here, we are creating the instance, right? Here we are creating the constructor, and out, and we are annotating this class with the annotation called component. Then it is automatically creating a object of this class and printing the message here. So Spring Boot is eager in nature. Now let's say I'm going to annotate this lazy loading class with the annotation called lazy. Then in that scenario, it will won't create any object for this class until we are using that class anywhere else. So let me run this again and then I will show you. So it won't create the object for the lazy loading class until we are using it. So you can see only the eager loading object is created. So let's say if we are going to use somewhere else, then that in that scenario, it will create the object for that. If you are not using it, it won't create the object. So that is the main importance of the lazy. If you are not using it, it is not creating by itself. So let's say I'm going to auto wire this lazy class here, private lazy loading class. I'm just simply going to not going to use anywhere, but simply going to create this instance here. Then AutoWire will automatically create the object for it. So let me rerun it. So Spring will know that we are auto-wiring it here so that we will be using somewhere else in this class. So it will create the object for that. So you can see it is created the object. So you can see that both of the object is created for the eager loading as well as the lazy loading. So lazy loading object is created only once we are using it somewhere, else it is not creating the object. So this is about the lazy loading. Coming to the next annotation, which is at the rate value. So at the rate value annotation we can use to grab the properties or grab the config key value pairs from the application properties file. So here you can see I have created this application properties file, and I have did some configuration for the connectivity to the database, and other configuration I also have did. So how you can, if you want to use the value of the URL in somewhere into your classes, if you want to use the username and password somewhere into the classes, then with the help of at the rate value annotation, you can grab it from here application properties file and you can use it. So how you will do it, I'm just going to show you that. So go to the IntelliJ and come to this let's say controller, and I'm just going to use the I'm just going to create some couple of variables here. Let's say URL private string, let's say username and private string, let's say password, let's say pass. And now let me annotate it with the value, and here we need to put the dollar sign, and then we can directly, with the help of the key, we can directly get the value. Okay, so let me copy the key for this and then come to the controller. Okay, and then paste it here. Similarly, I need to do for the username and password also. So let me copy this and then do it for the, and somewhere else we can directly use it. Okay, so let's say it is username, and let's say it is password. So exactly key you need to paste it here. I know this is the exact key. Okay, so and we are just going to, I'm just going to print this instances that I have created URL, username and password. So let's say I'm coming here into this and then I'm just simply uh, just printing it out. So let's say it's this out and URL Let's say it is this plus URL. Let's say username. Okay, where it gone? Plus username, and let's say it is password, and let's say it's pass. And I'm directly going to run it again, and then we'll see how it is working. So basically, from the application properties file, it will fetch all the values and then it will print it here when we'll hit the API. So go here, hit it, and come to the IntelliJ. So you can see we get this URL, okay, and till here it is URL. Then it is coming as username, which is root, and the password is this. You can see into the application properties file. This is the things, okay. So it is working fine. Now coming to the next annotation, it is a property source. So similarly, how you have used the application properties directly with the help of the uh, value, right? If you want to get the value of any key from the application properties file, then with the help of the value you got it, right? But what if you have a custom properties file? Then how you'll get the value from there? So for that only, this property source is annotation is in the picture. So I have created this custom properties and I have created one key value pair called message and hello everyone. So how we are going to use the property source property annotation, sorry, property source annotation. So I'm just going to uh, give you the use case of that. So come to the controller. Now here you can come and then you can use property source, let's say here, and then here you need to provide the class path and then exact name of the properties file that you have created, which is a custom.properties. Okay, custom.properties, where it is, yeah, custom.properties. And now I'm just going to show you how I can, with the help of the value, now I can get the key value pair into the custom properties file. So this configuration we need to do. This property source need to provide the path of that, and then directly we can use it. So let me paste it here, and then the key was message, and let me say it like message. Okay, and I'm directly going to use it here only. Okay, so let's say message. Okay, and let me rerun it. So you have, if you have the custom properties, then with the help of the property source, you can configure and then use the value of that. So let me hit this and then we'll show you. Come to the IntelliJ. So here you can see with the like for the message it is coming like hello everyone, which is what we have provided here into the custom properties. So that is also working. Now coming to the next annotation, which is profile. So for profile, I will tell you that I already have a video on my YouTube. So come to the YouTube. Here you can see multiple profile, multiple environment, something like the, yeah. Here you can see Dev QA prod. This video is there. So I have I have explained very much in deep how you can use profile to load the multiple environments of the database. Okay, so if you have a QA database, QA configuration, if you have a dev configuration, dev prod configuration, like you have, if you have different properties file for dev, QA, and prod, then with the help of profile you can load those things. So in this video I have covered those topics. So from here you can learn that. Coming to the next annotation, which is a scope annotation. So scope is used to say what is the scope of that particular class. Like if you define the scope, let's say this is a test configuration class, okay, and if you are defining the scope of this test configuration class as a singleton, then only one object will be created for this class, and you can use that object. So for the entire application, only one object will be created for this configuration. But when you are using scope as a prototype, then whenever you are using like for each instance or for each use, the next object will be created. How? I will just show you how you can create the scope for this class. So let's say I'm just going to create a scope for the test configuration. Let's say it's a singleton, and let me run this application. So it will create object for this class only once. Okay, before that, okay, I have not print anything, so it won't be, you won't be able to know. So let me go here. Let me go to create the scope for this user service IMPL version 2. So come here, test configuration, and come to the user service IMPL version 2. Come here and let it singleton. And now let me create a constructor for this class. So go to the generate and go to constructor, and yeah, it is created. And here I will just print something. Let's say South uh, user service IMPL version 2, something like that. So let me run it. So when the scope is singleton for this class, then only once the object for this class will be created. And whenever you're going to run this application, second time it won't create. So you can see we have created the object for this user service IMPL version 2. Now let me rerun it, and then let me show you. The next time it won't create the object for it. So that is the scope of type singleton. So whenever you are okay, okay, let me correct it how we can show you. So you can see each time when we are starting the application, one object uh, of the user service IMPL version 2 class is created when we are defining this scope as a singleton. But this is not like each time it is created. It is created only once when we are starting the application. Okay. So I will just show you how it is different from the prototype with the help of the user controller. I can like hit some API, and then I will show you that how the singleton scope is different from the prototype, which I cannot show you into the user service IMPL version. So that is why I'm just going here. Just let me copy this and then come to the user controller, and then let me do it. Okay, and just I have created this constructor and name it like controller. Let me rerun it and then I will show you. So when we are starting it, then the object for this controller will be created. Okay, so let me do. Yeah, this is created, and now let me clear all the console, and now come to this API. I'm hitting this API. Okay, come here, and you can see we are not getting the message like controller. That means whenever we are hitting the API, we are not generating the new instance of this user controller class. Okay, only one instance is created, one object is created when the application is up. But this is not the case when the scope is prototype. Let me do the prototype, and then let me rerun it. I will show you the difference there. So each time when you hit the API, then new object of the user controller will be created. So we can see multiple message of the controller here. So here you can see this time it is not created the controller object, but let me clear this because it was already created with the singleton one. Now come here and then now hit, let me hit it. Two, three, four, multiple times I'm hitting it. Come to the IntelliJ and log files. Here you can see multiple times you are getting the controller, which is we are multiple time it is creating the object of the user controller class because the scope is prototype. So that is about scope, and that is about this video, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such videos.